Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the rap music plug at your service.
Here we are again at the end of a rainbow.
The Mutant Academy collective has been the launching point for many of rap's most innovative creators over the past half decade, with uber talented spitters such as Fly Anakin and Koncept Jack coming out of this camp, as well as captivating beatmakers such as ohbliv, Tuamie, Foisey, and our guest on today's show, ewonee. ewonee has fueled the sound for not only some great Mutant Academy releases, but has also worked with the brightest stars in the game right now, such as Mach-Hommy to Estee Nack, as well as YUNGMORPHEUS, crafting the beats for their outstanding collaborative album, Thru Foliage, that dropped in 2021. If you're interested in hearing how one of the finest producers in the game approaches their craft and what inspires them, make sure you check this episode out. The Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. Through in-depth album and song reviews, as well as artist interviews and general rap commentary sprinkled in between on all of what the mainstream and underground rap scenes have to offer, this is your one-stop shop to knowing what to add to your queue, play next, or pop into your record player. Welcome to the show. ewonee, how you doing today?
Good, man. I'm chilling. Cool little. What even is today? Saturday?
It's Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday.
Chilling.
It was great seeing you in Toronto. You performed.
Thank
you killed it. You did a really sick Drake flip. I still can't get over that. That was so fly. So fly.
I appreciate you, man. That shit was much fun.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing like producers perform like that, because I haven't actually had too many encounters. Like ever since I moved to Toronto, I've been to many, but before that, very few times I see like true producers perform without rappers. It's just like a whole different beast. It's so cool seeing like all the live manipulations and stuff that you do to the sound. It's sick.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And I'm excited to have you on also because like you're just a sick producer. I feel like we got over the next couple weeks, we're gonna have a lot of at least a couple really dope producers. Future Wave's coming right after this.
Nice. He's on an L run right now.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Future Wave.
Yeah, shout out to Future Wave from Toronto too. He's a really nice guy. I've been able to speak to him once before. But today's about you, and I just want to start off by asking like what's like an album or a producer that like first inspired you to say like, okay, I want to make beats myself. This is cool.
Like first one, I mean, I liked Eric Lau's Quadrivium early on. That's like a beat album now. I don't think people talk about much.
Yeah, that's right.
Quadrivium. I don't even know how you would spell that, but it's Eric Lau. Eric Lau is a really, really good producer, man. In the vein of course, the culture and all this shit, in the vein of Dilla. But that shit is just like it's a breath of fresh air. It's mixed very, very well for the time. I heard that shit and was like, I'm gonna take my shit to the next level. I think I was already making beats by then, but I was like, yeah, this is hella cool. I found it on a blog called Strictly Beats. They used to like be on,
Yeah, you were big into the blog. You're a big blog digger back then.
Something. Yeah, of course. There was a bunch of them back then too. Producers I know was another one. There's a bunch of blogs and shit.
I know that like where you're from, that's where Pete Rock was from. I'm assuming, was he a big inspiration as well?
Yeah, definitely later on. Like once I figured out everything and the proximity and shit, it only made it, cool.
Were you someone that wanted to make beats first, or were you thinking of like being a rapper and kind of trying to be an MC?
I definitely rapped. I definitely rapped as a kid for sure. Like talent shows and shit like that. Like as a very young child. But like after that, like I was skateboarding and shit, playing basketball, shit like that. You know what I mean? Mostly skateboarding though. But then, like the music shit came afterwards, kind of.
So what age were you when you kind of really start to take it more seriously? and start to like really start to refine like how you do things?
2011, 12, so like 10 years ago.
Okay, that's good.
Fucking 29, so what was that, 21?
Like that's still it's funny because I feel like producers, especially even more so than rappers, I find like the journey of like how long until in your life before you would really start to make beats, I feel has varied so much in the people that I've talked to. Some people are doing this since they're like 12. And I find
Yeah.
it usually is the younger, the younger folks are the ones that I feel like nowadays it's easier to get kind of your hands on the right technology. Machines are a bit cheaper. So I find people are getting more into it earlier.
And you can make ill beats on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are phone apps. You don't even have to like, what MIDI controller?
I think I have like an MPC Studio, and which is like a not some crazy good one, but it still costed a good amount of money. I can't do
Mm-hmm.
shit with that. I can't do shit. I don't understand how you guys make beats. I just don't
Hey,
understand
get the right sounds, man. You can make it happen.
I feel
It's
like
all about having the right sounds.
I can like chop samples like in terms of like, oh, this could sound cool, like this 5 second snippet, but I don't understand how to make anything like a coherent beat. I just need like some training. Someone needs to help me, but I don't have time.
Feel it, feel it,
So,
feel it.
so what's the machine of choice for you when you make beats?
I'm mostly in the computer, but I use a MIDI controller to chop up. I use one of the older MPK 25 like
Oh
MIDI
shit.
controllers.
Nice.
It's hella like big and just ridiculous. It's got the MPC 500 pads on it, which is really cool. It was like it's one of the older joints before they started like making all of the light up pads and shit on all of
Oh,
the
okay.
MIDI controllers. I don't really fuck with that shit for real. So,
Yeah.
um, but I'm mostly in Ableton if I'm like sampling, and I'm in Logic 9 if I'm composing
Hmm.
like from scratch. You know, yeah.
One thing I found really interesting was in your latest beat tape, Source Codes, you talk about how you're getting into coding recently. And you say how it gives you like a similar feeling of fulfillment that you get when you make beats, as it relates to kind of like, I don't know, coding successfully. I found that pretty interesting because I'm not familiar with coding, but I know a lot of friends that are. Could you elaborate on what you meant by that?
Yeah, so like beginning of the year, I haven't really coded in a while for real. Beginning of the year before I was asked to go on tour with Anakin, uh, I was gonna start like trying to do, I don't know, data analytics or like front end. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with it. So I started learning Python. Um, it's like a numbery kind of coding language to learn. I got like I think 2 or 3 weeks into the boot camp that I was doing and then had to go on the road.
Mm.
But as I was doing that shit, like coming into the year, man, it was ill. Like I would code for like 8 hours a day and then go make beats, and my brain would be like on
Oh
fucking
yeah.
Jimmy Neutron. It'd be on Jimmy Neutron mode. So I would go into the studio and just be able to like get so busy so quick, like making shit from scratch, like sound designing shit really quick. And I'm like, yo, this is like this. And once I figured out like how to get things to work in Python, I was getting the exact same like, oh, that's dope. Like that worked. You know what I mean? Like fulfillment from
I
music,
guess
I
it's
guess.
like similar. I guess it's like similar when you get something in like your workflow of like making a beat or like, oh, this plugin really sounds sick. If I use
Yeah,
it this way, I turn this knob that way.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Exactly.
and you've got a lot of variety in your beats. Like you have you have like a lot of different sounds, a lot of different kind of flavors in your production over the years. So, but I find it interesting if I ask you this, like, what would you say if you had to describe in your own words would be like the Ewan sound?
I appreciate first of all, I appreciate your your acknowledgement of the variety.
Oh yeah,
Very
you got
important.
a ton
I
of
appreciate
different. It's
that.
a big breath of stuff you
I
got.
appreciate that. Because we still trying to reach hella far. But yo, knocking drums, like an L swing, like not too complicated, not too simple. You know what I mean? Clean, but not too dirty, if that makes sense. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it's really far reaching. Like I guess, and it's also like a swing thing. You know what I mean? Like swing is a little different from everyone, you know? Everyone
It,
swing is it's like skateboarding, man. It's like everyone can do the same tricks, but they're all gonna land them different.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's kind of how people use like can use the same sample and it'll just sound completely different just because like what that
yeah,
producer had in mind. Yeah, because
yeah,
you got I definitely if I had to answer that, I would definitely say the drums, the groove, like the swing. Those are like kind of the exact same things that come to mind. Because even like you
thank
have
you.
beats like the one you did on Dump Yard. Uh that's one of my favorite beats, and that sounds like that doesn't really sound all that similar to like something you did with Fly Anakin on Mirrors, or something on the Thumbing Through Foliage, but it's just they still just go, they just knock. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
They just knock.
thank you,
Even though that
thank
one's
you.
so much darker than the others. So as someone who loves music, beats, but can't make any of it to save my life, I'm always interested in kind of understanding as a producer, like what's going on in your mind as you are kind of creating beats. So like when you're digging, what are the elements in like a little piece of music and a sample that typically kind of like you gravitate to? Like what is it that you look for in a sample when you're like, oh, I can use this. I can use this in a beat. I can chop this.
Texture is important. Um, I like, I like things that don't feel too clean. You know what I mean? Like, or you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? It's a fine line. It's a very fine line because once it's too grimy and the record's too poppy or something, or like took too much high end off of it, you can't
Yeah.
really, you know what I mean? Like, there's a very fine line of texture and like your taste for that. Melodic content is also important. Like, how does it make you feel too? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sample something that doesn't make me immediately be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's I feel that. It could be happy, it could be sad, it could be in between, it could be suspenseful. You know what I mean? It just had
Mm-hmm.
to make me feel like, oh, or that's cool. I also like sparse samples, but
Yeah.
just cool chords for real. Even when I'm making shit from scratch too, like just cool chords. Trying to figure out how to make shit stretch.
And you mentioned just like a few minutes ago that you definitely want to have something that's like no, not too simple, but also not too complex. I
Mm-hmm.
know there's obviously a pretty common trend going on with, very minimal loop based beats where either there's like not a lot of drums or no drums, or there's like just not too much alterations being done to like the OG sample. Do you rock with that kind of style of beat making, or do you kind of wish that trend would
Hell
die out?
yeah. Hell yeah, we do it all. I mean, you gotta, you know what I mean? I'm really at the point in my shit too where it's like, bro, if I feel like that shit is hard by itself, I'm gonna loop it. But you can't get lazy and not do drums. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like you gotta have that. That's really, I mean, put it this way, it's really how you freak it. How did you plate the meal? You know what I mean? Like whatever you did to it is what you did to it. But you can't be mad at somebody for just looping something up. Like there's so many beats that are just ill loops. How you gonna be mad?
And sometimes
that
people
shit
don't
is
even
not that shit
notice
is
what it
not
is.
new. That shit is not new. Like
Yeah.
people like to act like that shit is new. That shit is not new at all. Like there's a lot of beat. Like just go back. Just go back. Is DJ Muggs been doing that shit in the 90s. Alchemist been doing that shit in the early 2000s. There's producers in the 80s that was doing that shit. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not new. So it's like it's not even really a trend, but it's like when you use it as a crutch and like, you know, you kind of just like pulling shit. Anybody could do that. You know what I mean? You kind of want to make it your own. No?
Yeah.
You
I think
you you
like
would want to make it your own. You know?
I feel like even when there's not much or anything done to the original loop, just the idea you can make it your own if based on like kind of like your taste, because obviously a producer has a particular kind of like taste and like sound they go for, and that's how you can kind of make it your own too, in the sense of like, oh, like this is X producer, like he really always has those kind of sounds. That's his like wheelhouse, and that can be really dope. But I just know that a lot of like fans, as well as some producers, less the producer side, but a lot of fans these days, there's some kind of like growing kind of like I don't know what you call it, but just some
A,
negativity
a
around the
disdain, is
yeah
it a
a
disdain
disdain exactly.
for the loop,
They're
like
like
kind
fuck
of
drumless
minimalistic.
beats. I'm like it's
Yeah,
cool if
yeah,
you
I
don't need
feel
to
it.
like everything.
I
Like
feel
it's
it. I
cool.
feel it. Like
Yeah,
everything needs a balance, man. Everything needs a
yeah.
balance. Like I understand, some shit kind of feels lazy sometimes. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
you got to get busy on everything. That's why, like, legitly, I'm saying if you're using that shit as a crutch as a producer, don't do that shit. You're doing
Mm-hmm.
everybody a disservice. Like, learn how to get funky with your drums, chop a break up, get a drummer, and nigga go on splice. So many ways to do that shit. But also, it's really not even on the producers because, like, sometimes the rappers really, that's what they want. That's what niggas are gravitating to. So,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
totally,
to each his
totally.
own. But back to the point, that shit is not new. So motherfuckers cannot be mad at that shit. That shit is not new at all. So
I feel like
I don't
maybe
know,
it's a
man.
function of people being able to kind of like with the internet, people can like spot the sample and like the sample police are out there a lot more now. I feel maybe people are
Yo,
noticing
thank you
it. They're
for
like,
that.
oh damn, because there's so many times where I'm like, I didn't know this was just a sample, you know?
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Great, great, great point. Great point.
Yeah. And so okay, so like as a part of the really, really dope rap collective, Mutant Academy, I'd love to learn more about how that kind of all came to be. Like, how did you originally link up with the crew and start making music with them?
So whew, Frank and Marcus, he's a Henny and Anakin with some of the
Yeah,
first
I would know
rappers to buy
Frank. I
beats
know
from me.
Frank for sure. Who's that is their
Yeah,
last album, but yeah,
that's why I had to leave with that one.
yeah.
But nah, they were some of the first rappers that ever really bought beats from me. So shot in the dark type shit. We ended up becoming cool. You know what I mean? They came to New York for their first show. I made it out. It was a weird ass night. We almost got like weed tickets when New York was not cool. Very long
Hmm.
story. But we've been cool for years. Like, so I've known those brothers for a very, very long time. And I guess they kind of just grabbed me in, you know what I mean? Because they had it already going on. Like
Yeah,
Anakin and Henny, that's their thing, you know what I mean? Um, but they already had Foisey. I think they had Tuamie.
yeah.
They added me and Ohbliv around the same time. So
And how does it feel being part of such a collective? Because just those names you're mentioning, even just let's stick to the producers like Foisey, Tuamie, Live, like these are some of the and you like these are you guys are like straight up like some of the best producers out, period. All from the same crew. Like that's wild.
don't forget Unlucky, Gray Matter.
Oh yeah, Gray Matter on
Hey,
yeah, man. Never ends.
we one of the only self-sufficient crews, like fully self-sufficient crews right now.
What do you
You
mean
know
by
what I mean?
self-sufficient?
Hey, if we needed to, we could do the art, shoot the video,
Mm,
mix, master the project, do all of the beats, rap the raps, get all of that done all in house.
yeah, that's fire.
Simply, like Unlucky, Gray Matter all do art. Unlucky does videos like full from top to bottom. Like look at what he's done with Kahuna
Oh yeah.
video wise and project wise, all in house. It's impressive. So look, I'm blessed to be, you know what I mean, even associated with those brothers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hey, it's a blessing for real.
Why do you feel that
Definitely,
you and the rest of the collective have achieved so much success together? Like what makes you guys special in that way?
because everybody's so different. But once motherfuckers come together, it's like a good mixture of soups. You got Psycho Sid, like you got so many people that bring so much to the table that like you might, bruh, Sid done did so many classics, and he mixed wild projects. Like I think he did all of like Chapel Drive or most of Chapel Drive
Mm,
mixing. You know what I mean? It what really makes it special is everyone does more than what they, you know what I mean, than what they just bring to the table. If that makes sense.
yeah.
Like Gray Matter is a great arranger and sequencer. Like Paz just being a great producer. You know what I mean? So I think when everyone comes together, that's when we're strongest. But that only happens because everybody is so far reaching with their skills.
And I feel you guys are
Mm-hmm.
also very far reaching in as like individual artists too, because
Mm-hmm.
like you've worked with so many other folks, other rappers outside of Mutant Academy, just like all these other guys have produced or rapped with, but then you kind of just bring that back into the, you kind of like go out, get some new kind of flavors, and then you bring it back. Because you guys definitely have so much collaborations in-house, but you also have a ton of placements and ton of work outside, which is great. It kind of just feels like it's
Absolutely.
mutually beneficial kind of thing.
Mutant Academy Productions, man. Come get your album right, man. We'll get your album correct. Nah, definitely, man. Yo, it's a blessing. Like Gray Matter and Conway, fucking me and Drew. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it happens. It's cool. It's ill, man. I think that we could definitely bring it to the next level. Tuamie John Belly.
Oh yeah.
Tuamie's always working with Tuamie and Sky Zoo.
Oh
Come
man,
on,
I that was on the
get
last
your
Guys You
album
record,
right.
right? Yeah, that was fucking sick. When I saw the
Or
track list,
maybe two ago. Maybe two ago, if I'm
was
not
it
mistaken.
the All Brilliant Things?
Mm-hmm.
The blue, yeah, I think that was his last. Either way, fucking, I love that album and I love this beat. I think he did at least one. Um, yeah, man, that's fantastic.
The All Brilliant Things joint, is that where he's like holding the
The
his
kid.
like no, it's the one before that.
Oh, it's not the blue cover
JR
one.
JR Swift JR Swift is on the
Oh,
All
fuck with
Brilliant Things
J.R.
one.
Swift, man. Yeah, he did like,
The one
yeah.
right before that. Tommy's on that like twice.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, as someone who's like worked with obviously the guys from Mutant Academy, but then outside of that, Mach, YOD, Knack, Knack, Divino. What would you say are some of like, if you just had to pick maybe like a few, I feel like it's gonna be very hard, but like, what are some of your favorite beats that you've produced?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And maybe zero
Um,
it into ones you've done with other rappers to make that a bit easier.
I like Zangief that I did on
In Mortal Kombat, yeah.
in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
That
those
shit is
drums are
crazy.
hard. Those drums
Thank
are
you. I
hard.
like how that song came out. I really like that
Yeah.
joint. Think. Damn, that's hard, man. That's really hard, dude. I like Decisions that me and Frank just did on Mirrors too.
Hmm.
I really like that shit. It's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's memorable. Damn, bro. So you put me on the spot. I guess I like a lot of this shit, man. It's very hard. I like DCF Babies. That shit is crazy. I was very excited when I got that song back. But I think that some of my best songs aren't out yet. For
Interesting. Okay.
real.
Nice
Yeah.
little teaser. We're gonna get into what
I
you
think
got
that some
coming
of
up
the best
next.
shit isn't out yet for sure.
That's great. That's great. So going back in time to not actually 1973, but your record is 73. You recently put this on wax. I copped that. That's my favorite instrumental work of yours. I
Thank
love
you.
it. It's just really has such a great kind of flow front to back. And so, like, as a producer who makes a ton of beats as instrumental works, but also as a beat for a rapper, how does your creative approach change when you're making like an instrumental album versus making a beat for use on with another rapper?
Great question. When it comes to the beat album stuff, I really like to get influences from like my life. You know what I mean? Like that really comes from like an inspiration. Like I gotta really think about it and then like plan it out and
Mm-hmm.
get it together. Like when it comes to working with an artist, I can usually hear the beat and be like, okay, I think I can hear XYZ on this. I think I can hear whoever. You know what I mean? But it's all one and the same because a lot of those beats is, even beat tape beats, you know what I mean? They're still usable. You can still rap on a lot of that shit. So,
Yeah.
you know. But
It kind of
the beat albums and shit don't come unless I'm like, yo, damn, why didn't I like I loved that when I was a kid. Like I loved doing that. Or I love that aspect of life. Let me, you know what I mean? Like let me highlight that somehow.
it makes
You
sense
know?
that the beat tapes, the instrumental records are a bit more kind of like require more inspiration because I feel like in a way instrumental albums they obviously don't have words per se like
Mm-hmm.
rapper words, but they kind of need to the best ones, at least, they have to tell a story without words in a way. Like the best ones, there's obviously beat tapes that are just kind of, you can tell they're just beats that are like put together, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But like when I think of my favorite instrumental producers who make instrumental albums, I'm thinking of people like Flying Lotus, Dilla, obviously, that just like, man, like just Flying Lotus to start with him. Like his beats are just so like dynamic. It's like a whole, there's so many themes. Madlib too, yeah.
Madlib too is like the master really of the theme beat tape type shit, because he was going out there, you know, not going out, but getting records from fucking Brazil, India, doing beat tapes and shit.
The Indian
like
one is my favorite Madlib period. That shit means so much to me, man.
Legendary.
Yeah. So okay, now I want to get into Thumbing Through Foliage, because I love this album, and it's funny because I really liked it when it came out, but I feel like it just hit like this other level this year, because I've just been listening to a lot of Young Morpheus, and I've just kind of had a general appreciation of him kind of like just grow exponentially, and that is my favorite record of his, and that's largely due to the fucking beats are crazy. What working with a rapper like Morph, what inspires you working with him, especially given how he's like so very politically strong-willed, he has a lot to say? How is that working with him? How do you feel inspired by him?
Shit, it's like the same thing working with the Mutant Academy brothers. Like I've known Morpheus for a long time. He used to live in New York. He used to play a lot of beat shows in New York. I would just see him out. You know what I mean? He was making beats, pull up, smoke a spliff. You know what I'm saying? Break dance or some shit, and then just dip out. I wouldn't see him until, you know what I mean, the next beat show and shit. But like we always kept in touch. I really like the project that he did with Hand 11. That dropped that wet joint. I don't know if you familiar with that joint. Yeah, that's my shit. That's really what put me on to, you know, the fact that brother's pen is crazy. And like, you know, I feel what he's saying. I'm not even mad. What I'm supposed to say, don't say that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? What? Come on, you kidding me? But yeah, man, same shit. Like it's crazy, man, because I was just looking at my DMs because I was trying to help him get some trees in Brussels and shit. You out in fucking Europe, globetrotting and shit. I was looking at my DMs today. That shit was only supposed to be an EP. You know what I mean? So
wait, which one? Thankful. The Thumbing Through Foliage?
Thumbing Through Foliage. Yeah, that shit was only supposed to be an EP. Like,
man, thank God it wasn't.
You know what I mean? So I'm very thankful that we fleshed that out, and you know what I mean? Got it right. He came with the theme, and that shit was perfect. You know what I mean? So
you say he came with the theme?
Yeah, he came with the theme.
So how did he describe the theme to you for the record?
It's like sometimes you gotta get it out the mud. Like it's either you thumbing through it, you feel me? Thumbing through a check, or you know what I'm saying? Niggas gotta get it out the mud. Like, look at the cover. You know what I'm saying? It's a homeboy in the muck. Like, niggas really got it out the mud. Like, come on, bro. I done seen my homies go from basement shows, like having to fight people for money, to like come on, son. Going to fucking, he's in Brussels right now.
That's crazy.
So that's a blessing. Really got it out the mud. Like, actually got it out the mud. So,
and he's making music that's like not
conscious,
easy to get.
For real, conscious. Like, let's be honest, that's conscious. You know what I mean? So when he came to me with the theme, I was like, yeah, we could definitely, I can make this a whole thing. Like, we could figure this out.
And one thing I really love about this album is that, I mean, especially given the fact that Morph is a producer himself, he just made that Obi-Wan. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, by the way.
No, you got it.
Obi-Wan, yeah. So yeah, like he produced that, but he obviously has a lot of beat tapes, a lot of projects that he's produced. But so he's a producer too. But I found like this album compared to the ones that he's the main rapper on, like it feels definitely different. It feels like very distinctly groovy, funky, lush. There's like a lot of soul. It's a lot more colorful than I feel like a lot of Young Morpheus records. I feel like a lot of times they're a lot more like kind of solemn in feel, or a little smoky.
Little dark room shit.
Yeah, exactly.
In the corner, smoked out, just looking at the scene.
Yeah, analyzing the world type shit on a sitting down. Yeah, this one had a bit more tempo, and so like, why did you feel this kind of sound was such a good fit for him? Because he's a rapper that's pretty steady, you know.
But
Yeah.
his pocket is crazy. Like you really gotta like just listen to even how he's growing now. Like his pen is only getting stronger. You know what I mean? But like even when we did that record, his pocket is crazy. Like the way that he's approaching shit is like, that's special. His use of space is ill. So it's like he could really say whatever, but he's not saying whatever. You know what I mean? But his use of space makes it special to me. So like I like hearing him on faster, you know what I mean? 90 BPM type
Mm.
swingy drums and shit. And I like hearing him on that shit. So I had to get a couple of those off.
Yeah,
Um,
it feels like it just gives it a nice kind of like compliment because he's super
mhm.
kind of methodical, and especially even the subject matter can be kind of heavy, but like a lot of these beats have so much like going on. They have so much like pretty like strings or really heavy grooves, bass lines, like the first track, was it Riding Dirty?
Mhm.
Yeah, like that groove is insane. Like,
I
and
was
he's
just talking
just
to my man Dust Master Hits today, man. Shout out to the nigga that gave me that record, man.
yeah,
You know what I
man.
mean? Special people. Everybody plays a part, man. I love everybody for everything they do, bro. For real. Yeah,
You know, like
that song is great. I love that song. I was just thinking about that shit today for real.
it's a great
Crazy.
intro. Great intro. And I think like Young Morpheus generally, he reminds me a lot of Boldy James in the sense that he just has that steady hand. And like
Mm,
I feel he's almost just always gonna be great. And it's a lot of times it's up to the producer to kind of pick a sound that kind of complements him. Cause I feel like with Boldy, one of my favorite records of him, I think my favorite is that one he did with Sterling Tolles. Have you heard that one, Manger on McNichols?
yeah, that
Like
shit
that one's
different.
like crazy
That shit
jazz, like
that shit different.
different. And
That
it's
shit
cool
different.
seeing like Boldy, who's just steady in the pocket with all this shit happening around him. It's a cool compliment, cool kind of juxtaposition. I feel very similar with this record that it's just really nice to see both things kind of happen at the same time.
Thank you, man. That joint was my baby. I mixed it, sequenced it, produced it. That was my shit. You know what I mean? I sat with that joint, so I'm glad that it's been received so well.
Mm-hmm. And
Very, very happy with that.
so one thing you mentioned when you performed in Toronto, you mentioned that you had like a full-on jazz record coming soon. And you played a song off that, and that was like super peaceful, super calming. Could you give us some more insight in terms of like what that record's gonna sound like and what we should expect?
So, man, this has been my another baby of mine. I've been working on this album since 2000, like 16 17.
Wow, holy shit.
Um, I mean, I had to teach myself how to play drums and shit. Like, a bunch of I'm always learning on the piano. So it's like all this shit is not like as cool as it once was to me. Um, and then I met my homie who helped me finish a lot of the songs, Desmond Teague. He's a great multi-instrumentalist, composer, just all around cool cat. From 21, legendary for real. So when I met him, he heard a bunch of the songs and was like, "Yo, this is great." Like I kind of told him the theme of it, and he was like, "Yo, this is great. Let me go. I'm gonna go away to college and write like some horn arrangements for it and whatever. I'll come back." And man, he killed it. And the one that I played at the end of my set in Toronto was actually probably the last one that we did. Um, yeah, and I was just like two takes, you know what I mean,
Wow.
back and forth, just me and him on flute, me on piano.
So this is like
Um,
a live, like this is live instrumentation. It's not sample based. Like you're actually gonna be, you guys will
yeah,
be collectively performing it all.
yeah, I got Sifu on there.
Oh, Sifu. Oh man, just hearing with that one song, he would sound
Yeah,
great in that world. Uh,
yeah. It's been my baby, man. So it's done. I just really gotta play it correctly, if that makes sense. I gotta get the artwork right. I want to do a whole vinyl run with limited colors and all of that
mm,
crazy shit. So, the music is basically done though. Kind of want to get the mixes right too. So always tinkering, always. It was supposed to come out this year, keep it a stack, but I think we'll wait until next year when it gets nice and cold. Who knows? It might be a longer project.
is it
But
mainly? You said Sifu's on it. Is it mainly instrumental with like a couple rap verses here and there?
he's the only vocal artist on there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's another very far reaching joint. Like there's scorey stuff on there. There's jazzy stuff. There's very sparse composition, piano stuff, duo stuff. It's really like a movie without a movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting. Obviously, I heard one of the joints; it was great, but I mean, that's a big it's a big jump. Like a lot of producers talk about kind of changing up their sound or doing something different, but this is just even like it's not just like you're going into a new sound sampling or like doing something. You're actually like learning instruments. Like that's a big it's a big jump.
Man, shout
It's
out to
impressive.
Prince, shout out to D'Angelo, shout out to Madlib, shout out to DJ Harrison, shout out to all of the people. I was like, man, what y'all people are doing it by yourself? Fucking Adrian Young.
Oh fuck.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, shout out to these people, man, because I got so inspired. I was like, yo, we have the technology, and if you want to do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? So,
And I think Adrian Young created an instrument. Like I think I'm not mistaken. He has like a trademarked instrument that he's made. I don't know what it is, and it's like some kind of like maybe some synth type thing. But
he's a
yeah,
legend, bro.
crazy.
That guy's a legend, man. Shout out to Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're legendary. Shout out to everybody that's just a composer for real, because that takes a level of superhuman strength that I think people don't really take, into account. So
Hmm. So you
yeah.
mentioned before, right, that you feel like a lot of your best work hasn't even dropped yet. So outside of this jazz record, what are some other things that people should look out for?
Ooh, I'm about to drop it on him. Man, I'm coming out with a Rap City the Basement theme beat tape. So that's the next joint. That's like
That's
beat
fire.
album type joint. Got to play some of them remixes in Toronto, which was cool. At
Mm,
Loveless. Um, it's gonna be a good one. It's just gonna feel like the basement with Big Tigger. You know what I mean? Right before 106 came on.
hmm.
I used to come home from elementary school and run home. We'll make a fucking grilled cheese and some whack shit. sit down, sit down and
Yo,
just
I'd love a
watch
grilled
that
cheese
shit.
right now. That's not
Enamored.
whack. That's not whack.
Hey, hey, empty carbs.
Empty
But
carbs, true.
you can do that as a kid, man. You can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You gotta like throw something on the side with that. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's like a side. But yo, man, I used to be enamored by just music videos and shit when I was a kid. So, once I get the name and finish it all up, that joint to be coming soon, get the artwork done. Um,
Hmm.
Trying to reel all my homies in for a compilation album. All my rap homies. Uh,
So I'll be
yeah,
you on the beats, and then they just get a bunch of different collab. Nice, nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see who, you know what I mean, who could get back to me. I'm on the phone making calls and shit. Hey, yo, whatever. You think, man, I'm working with a great singer right now. Um,
Oh shit.
yeah, I'm working with a very, very ill singer right now. Her name is Stina Flamingo. Um,
That's a name.
super,
Stina
super dope.
Flamingo. Damn.
Yeah, super, super dope. Just got a bunch of shit coming. We got some stuff coming.
So it's gonna be like an R&B album, like you producing like the beats type thing.
I don't know if we're doing a full album, but we got a couple songs, you know what I
Okay,
mean, that
nice.
we working on. Um, and then I'm mixing her project that she's got coming out. And what else? I think that's really it, man. And then the jazz project.
Yeah.
And then who knows? I got a down tempo album I want to drop real like on the fly. So who knows? It's done. Like it's older beats, but they're very good.
Hmm.
So um, yeah, who knows? I might just wipe my whole Instagram one day and just fucking put up 3 videos and then put that shit up
Is there
tomorrow or some
is
shit.
there
Who knows?
is there a rapper or another artist that you'd love to work with that you feel is possible down the line?
Hmm. For real, I'm not even trying to work with no rappers. I'm trying to work with singers and shit right now, and like
Interesting.
instrumentalists. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like where's like the guitarist? I can't play guitar. I need somebody that can play guitar hella ill.
Yeah.
All of my rapper friends are like right here. Like I could call them. So I don't really even. I'm good.
Mm.
Like I couldn't even really. No name came to mind. Like I'm working with a rapper out of fucking New Orleans. It's amazing. Shout out to Wakai. He's so many people that I don't even gotta really think about rappers, man. I need instrumentalists. I need people that play fucking instruments. So yeah, singers and shit too.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's
dope
for
sure.
All right, man. Well, this was a great conversation. I really appreciate you kind of coming on, giving more insight into the craft. Love what you've been doing. And super excited. I'm really excited for this jazz record. Like that's gonna be a highly anticipated next year. That's gonna be dope.
Shout out to the homie Desmond for helping me with that shit. Shout out to Henny Lowe for calling me in the middle of the interview right now.
That's what I
feel me. Thugging it out, baby. This is mutant shit going on right now.
Yeah,
hey, me and Henny. Thank you for reminding me, Henny. Me and Henny working on a full album.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Thank you
Perfect
for reminding
timing.
me,
Perfect timing. Thanks, Henny, for the call. Appreciate it.
Man, yo, whole lot of shit coming from Mutant Academy next year, so stay tuned.
All right, man.
For sure.
Until then,
you, man, for your time. Oh, I appreciate you because I had to really go because a bunch of people that hit you up for their podcast, right? A bunch of people like, I got a podcast. You've been doing your thing for a minute, very professional. You know what I mean? Fucking website is cool. The guests you've been getting on is cool. So I had to do my little research. Shout out to people like you. So
appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
A lot. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, man. Take that call from Henny, and I'm looking forward to the records.
Yeah, man. Let me get on this business call, man. Henny's wilding, man. All right, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Peace,
bro.
So there we have it. Another episode of the Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV. I hope this episode gave you some new perspectives and insights into what the greatest art form known to man in hip-hop music has to offer. If you want to support the show in the most meaningful way possible, it would be my absolute honor to have you as a patron in the new Rap Music Plug podcast Patreon. Through this Patreon, you will be getting exclusive content such as bonus episodes, exclusive album recommendations, exclusive playlists, early access to episodes, and more. And above all, though, you will be able to support the show directly in a way that will not only justify the crazy amount of time I spend on this show already, but allow me to cover some of the expenses related to supporting all of these great artists that we cover on the show through the website, and will allow us to sustain and build on this amazing growth that the RMPP has experienced recently. Big shout out to Dano of Free Music Empire, Levi, Mahima, Jeff, Mitch, Dash Lewis, Pancake Cleaner, Trey, Noah, Justin, Brandon, Joe, Gavin, Matt, Teddy Faley, Jackson, CN, Slumber Logic, Fatman Tomb, and Khalid for your generous support through the Patreon. I really appreciate it. So if you have any questions about any of the Patreon stuff, or just want to keep tabs on the show, interact with me on rap music and all the great stuff that we can talk about, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at rapmusicplugpod, or shoot me an email at qlctv.podcast@gmail.com. You can also rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify as well. But that's enough self-promotion for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it.